Tony Poulos here at TM Forum Live in Nice. Following on our keynote sessions today, I have with me Jim Metzler and also Michael Matthews, who are going to talk to me today about the second session, which was all about your greatest competitor is your customers' future expectations. It's a fascinating subject. Jim, I'm going to start with you. What exactly did you try to get through? You were the moderator of that session. What were you trying to get at by interviewing these two guys on the session?
Well, Tony, we hear the phrase customer centricity repeated over and over again like it's a mantra. Not a problem with that. On the session, we want to do down a level or two. Okay, we get it. Don't tell us we have to have this focus on the customer. Tell us how to do it. And tell us really about the role both of the CEO and the board in making that happen.
That's coming up a lot because we're all hearing the need to go to customer centricity, but getting there is not so easy. Michael, you've been very much involved with that in your previous life at NSN and now in Archer, where you're also trying to get to this, I think it's the nirvana of what is the customer expectation and how do we get customers to the center of the, is it with analytics, is it reviewing the customer? What tools do we give them to make them feel they're empowered?
Well, Tony, I've always felt that customer delight, and I said this in the session, customer delight is when something happens that they didn't expect. Hopefully it's something good that happens that they didn't expect.
Yes.
But it's a continuously moving bar. So whereas analytics can continue to point to areas where it may be appropriate to take some focus, ultimately that expectation from the customer is because they're human beings and they have a life and they're consuming services because of aspects of their life, be it commercial or personal or medical or retail or consumer, or for whatever reason they're consuming services. And like it or not, if the same thing is happening as what was happening a month ago or a year ago, then that's the expected, and the unexpected is when something new happens. And given the pace of technology, it's not unreasonable for educated consumers to expect that there will be something new happening. Even if it's with the same data, it's what can my provider understand about my humanity to bring the unexpected to me.
Are we able to assess what a customer is expecting or wanting? It's a very difficult thing to assume that. Are we getting our systems and our analytics good enough? Is big data giving us enough information to do that these days?
You know, I love the example that the JP gave in the session prior to ours, where he talked about turning up at border control in Germany with the wrong passport, or yes, the passport that didn't have the right visa in it.
Yes.
So analytics will tell the various immigration authorities in the world that this number of people with this type of visa turn up every day, or this number of people turn up to border control every day without the right visa. But humanity will say, how are we going to deal with that? Yeah. Because you can't necessarily write a system that would deal with that. And the human approach that particular border agent took to allowing him to present a photo that was emailed by his daughter is the thing that delivers the customer delight.
Yeah, that was exciting.
No amount of analytics will predict that.
Yeah, he's much luckier than me getting through passport control, I can tell you. Jim, you've been working on our very first how-to guide aimed at C-levels. I'm trying to get them to get a very clear understanding of what transformation was all about. How important is this transformation role in getting to this level of customer centricity that we're talking about?
Well, Tony, it's absolutely critical, and you're right, it is a how-to guide. What we avoided in the guide was merely lecturing people, you need to transform, you need to transform. People know that. That's boring. On the other hand, it's not possible to say, here is the end state for all companies. Here's what a digital business looks like today and tomorrow. So we had to walk between high-level platitudes and trying to be specific to the point where it made no sense. So what the guide really did was identify a number of steps along the way in terms of here are some of the issues you need to deal with. And then for each of those issues, here are some of the viable alternatives. Here are some of the pros and cons of each alternative, and to the degree possible, hear experiences of others that have gone before you.
Yeah.
Whether that's around customer centricity, whether that's around the role of IT, agile business models. So trying to create a living framework, Tony.
Are there any industries that are achieving what you're both talking about, that are actually getting their customer expectations always being renewed and always finding new things for them? Do we have examples of those out there in the field that we can call on and look at?
Well, I think that we see certainly germination of this happening in the provision of healthcare.
Yes.
Coincidentally, Apple announced iOS 8 yesterday, where a significant part of it is a platform for enabling healthcare applications.
Yeah.
The healthcare costs our economies, I think the US
Massive.
is about a $2 trillion amount. And the ability to remind patients of their medication regimes, the ability to educate patients in the time where they need the information, the ability to ensure that if someone is turning up for an MRI, they turn up on time with whatever appropriate regime they were supposed to have taken the night before, to ensure that they're in the state that they should be to go through that procedure. Those things are very simple, early stage applications of the mobile world and the networks that provide it and the interfaces to the healthcare systems. This is just scratching the surface of where it's going.
But it's of great value to that customer. I mean, they talked to it yesterday in the press about there'll be a device that will let you know when you're going to have a heart attack. So, that could be very handy for some of us.
Tony, that's a curious question because, as Michael said, what you do today to delight a customer, tomorrow is an expectation. So it's challenging to say who has been able to, on a systemic basis, continue to add new delights. Having said that, let's go back to that border crossing example again. A border guard in Germany, you think of as having a very rigid set of rules. That example worked because that border guard had some flexibility. And there was a discussion during our session that a rigid kind of central control will not lead you to delighting customers.
Yeah. It's almost giving them empowerment, and
exactly right.
The technology is allowing us to do that because we can get that empowerment to them as well.
Exactly right.
Gentlemen, great to talk to you. Great session today. Thank you for being here, and the TM Forum thanks you very much for being keynotes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Bye.